What's up, guys? Welcome back to Pro League 2016. We're already in the second half of today's matches. Again, this is another David versus Goliath match. MVP Chicken Maru, definitely the underdogs here, GTR.
Yeah, MVP are sitting at the bottom of the table so far in round one, and they've got a really tough task ahead of them. They are playing KT Rollstar with their strong lineup. And look at the entries that we have. We might see something similar to the previous game of Freak against Samsung, where KT sweep MVP.
Yeah, this could be another 3-0 sweep. This could be just a very short day overall here for us down at SPL2016. I hope it's not. I would, in fact, love to see an upset. It's just going to be a tough call.
Yeah.
For that to be the case. So let's see what happens. Again, if you just missed our previous match, we did see the Freak of Freaks get 3-0'd, man, against Samsung Galaxy.
And it wasn't even close. It was 3 brutal games. I mean, the first game was pretty close, sure, but the second and third were just brutal. They were pretty one-sided. As there's a Parksora, the female player for MVP. I think it's actually the first time we've seen her here in studio, so good to see her.
That's right. The only female player that we've had here in Pro League.
And of course, MKP, Marine King.
And here's Seed now. We're getting a shot of all these players. On the right, we have Hot 46. He was an old Brood War player, very, very accomplished.
Now the KT head coach. And pretty much a mentor for all those players on KT. So.
And finally, here on the left, we have Choya, the coach there for MVP Chicken Maru.
And let's talk about the first game that we have today.
Sure, let's do it.
DeParture against Zest.
I got the Superman curl going on over here in my hair. Sorry, go ahead, please. Yes.
I just keep thinking about. You ever watch The Simpsons?
Actually, I haven't watched it in a long time.
Okay, there's a clip where there's a bird that's grooming Homer's hair, right? And it's like, it's grooming me, and I just keep thinking of that when I see your hair.
Dude, they didn't do the best on my hair today, man. My little faux hawk is falling apart, man. I look like a molting parrot right now. So
let's move on to the game that we have today.
Our
MVP
first match
KT.
is going to be DeParture versus Zest.
Yes. Following that will be Gumiho against Lerilak, Ryung versus TY, and if needed, our fourth game will be Blaze against Stats.
Yeah, now, I gotta say, just looking at all of these matchups, I can't see KT losing this.
Yeah, I mean, they have so many good players, and it feels like the matches that each player from KT is facing against MVP, it just favors their way.
It really does. Now, maybe there'll be one upset here or there, but you know, the notion of MVP Chicken Maru winning this, that would be a crazy upset, super exciting.
And like the previous game that we had at Freaka versus Samsung, I think if DeParture takes this game against Zest, that will kickstart pretty much the confidence for MVP to take out the rest of the series, because Zest is one of KT's best players, him and TY. And DeParture, he's one of these up-and-comers, but he's shown in the past that he's able to take out these strong players such as Zest.
Let's see. Now, DeParture, this is a guy, everybody knows he's good, but he also has to come out and play the hardest matches here a lot of times for MVP, excuse me. So, I don't know, man.
It's a tough task for DeParture, sure. And we've seen when he's stuck in those hard situations, he has choked a lot. But he's playing first now.
He's lost, but he doesn't always play horribly. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think this is like a big weight on DeParture's shoulders here in Pro League, because he is so strong, but is so overshadowed from let's say the strongest player in KT, which would be Zest or TY, that it's a difficult task for him, right? I don't feel like he's actually playing against people that might be closer to his skill. Say you send out DeParture versus Super, for instance. I think DeParture could really exhibit his true strength, but they can't use him for moments like that. They got to use one of their weaker players there in a moment like that, you know?
And we also see the recent 10 games for both players. DeParture 3 wins, 7 losses, and Zest on a roll, 9 wins and 1 loss. That win streak has surely have to make Zest confident here.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, when you're just... When almost all of your recent memories of being in the booth here at the Nexon Arena involve just destroying your opponent, yeah, for sure. Zest is going to have the utmost confidence, and I think this is a great starting lineup here for KT to come out here with, I think, what a lot of people would probably say is kind of an auto win, even though I think DeParture actually has a much better chance than that. And we see in recent games it's 2-1. However,
that includes offline qualifiers, online qualifiers.
That's right.
So
that's right. I think this is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But DeParture can do it. He can. Really good player, just maybe not in the same pantheon as some of these other players that we've casted.
As obviously Zest is the favorite, but I wouldn't be surprised if DeParture takes this win. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, we are on Lerilak Crest, which is one of the more straight-up maps here in the map pool for Pro League, and let's see the predictions. All of us picking Zest, so it seems like today's been a very easy day in terms of predictions for most of the casters here.
Yeah, well, everybody's predicting Zest here, but I'm sure a lot of people would be very happy to see DeParture win.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at recent results, you just have to go with Zest, right?
Sure.
You'd be kind of crazy not to do it. We don't normally have a matchup that might be, this imbalanced, but again, only one game DeParture had to prepare for. He could have a trick up his sleeve.
As we're loading up into okay, no, lie, we're not loading up into our game yet, so we'll just wait and see when these plays are ready. Yeah, I think we've pretty much exhausted what we've talked about this game. I'm not really sure what else we can add.
Oh, I could just sit here and talk for days, GTR. No problem, man. I think that Zest and some of the other Protoss players had a little bit of a tricky time right when this game came out. It seemed like Zergs, some of them were having a little bit of an easier time just with the, it seemed like some people had a harder time with Ravagers. Of course, in Depths, where Protoss had somewhat of an easier time because of that and had to make some adjustments. But it's interesting to see that our Heart of the Swarm players have definitely adapted, for Protoss at least, here in Legacy of the Void.
I think the most interesting thing we've seen so far in Legacy of the Void is that the top Terrans have completely shifted. Players like Maru, players like Innovation, they pretty much faded away, and then there's a thing now in Korea where the new top 3 kings of Terran, I guess you could say, are players that you wouldn't expect, TY, Beyond, and Alive.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah. I definitely did not expect those players to be at the top of their game.
Well, especially Alive and Beyond,
yeah.
right? Like TY, we always knew he was going to be getting better and better. He's still super young and had like a way early start. Basically playing when he was like a child, essentially, and not just playing online and doing well. I mean, playing like in team houses and in the booth, in the soundproof booth, since as early as he could probably, remember his gaming days. So I expected him to do better, but Alive Beyond, that was a bit of a surprise for me.
As we've actually loaded up into the game right now. First game here at the Pro League for this game, MVP against KT Rollstar. Let's get straight into it.
All right, guys, this is game number 1, DeParture versus Zest. In the bottom right, in the teal, it is DeParture. And in the bottom left, in the red, our Protoss player Zest.
First thing to note, it is not cross spawns, but they're spawning pretty close to each other. So we've seen a lot of ZPPs on this map change the way Zergs play on this map. If you have spawns like this, the Zergs tend to be more aggressive. They expand towards their opponent rather than behind their opponent. Lerilak, from memory, did that previously in a game. I forgot which league it was. So we'll see how DeParture approaches this match with these spawns.
Okay, well, Zest already going to be able to deny the hatch from being planted immediately. That's a rough opening there for DeParture. Not normally does a Protoss get to scout the proper location immediately. And so already Zest able to take control of this with the probe there, and the pylon now being built there. The Zerg can't expand and make his hatchery now, and this early into the game, that's pretty annoying for Zerg.
Yeah, it's annoying for Zerg, and generally when you get your expansion delayed by a pylon or probe or whatever the Protoss decides to do, you'd want to expand to your third base so you don't fall way more behind that you are actually normally. But looks like at this point DeParture really wants to take that expansion at the front rather than taking the expansion at another base. So he takes that expansion there and he's actually expanding away from his opponent. So we'll see how DeParture approaches the rest of this game.
Well, this is definitely a bad start here for DeParture. This is the Protoss player dream, right? Is that you get over there immediately, you stop the hatch. You can obviously monitor them for the rest of the game from here on out. You know, if you scout them, let's say, even so late that you couldn't even spot where their scouting overlords were, then there's a lot of guesswork you have to do before you finally get in there and see what they're doing to make sure that you've defended against everything. And occasionally, even when you've set up to defend against all those things, you get there and you find out, uh-oh. All right, he's just doing something very, very conservative. And maybe I'm not in the place I wanted to be in this game.
We see here Zest actually going for the early Adept rather than the early Stalker. I thought he might be going for that early Stalker just to help shoo away that Overlord that's just sitting there at the main ramp. And, well, the thing is, DeParture saw that Gateway being chrono boosted, so obviously he has to move away either way. So nice psychological move there from Zest.
And Protoss is in fantastic shape, making a second gateway here to make that wall off tight and securable. The hatchery over here in the center right has now completed. Some drones are now going to be transferred over there.
See here, a small party of Zerglings soon to hit speed. Going to hit this ramp of Zest. Not going to do too much damage there. Nice wall there from Zest.
Important to note, he's making more gateways here. Now, he wants to do some pressure. Remember, the creep right now, obviously Zerg need to have that connected to optimize defense and mobility. Otherwise, their movement gets a little bit staggered between the bases. And I think this might just be a solid pressure build coming out here from Zest, where he just shoves forward with the depths in the hopes that he can get a kind of disembodied Zerg base even more out of position.
As we see here, the first two Adepts of Zest are wreaking havoc in the first expansion of DeParture, and actually it just shades back because obviously those Zerglings and Queens would surround them.
Yeah, nicely done. It looks like he was trying to take out some larvae there, but that didn't quite work. We have two Stargates now coming down. I'm sorry, GTR, can you check on the preview PC? How many gates total is it? I think I might have miscounted.
We've got three. We've got 3 gates.
3 gates. I'm sorry, I think I said 4 a minute ago. Sorry, guys. It's 3 gates, okay, and then 2 Stargates. But he can continue to make adepts out of this and really keep the pressure on, and we're going to see that happen once again as he shades forward.
I mean, Adept Phoenix is a very solid unit composition to have, and especially in these spawn points that both players are at, you don't really have to concern yourself about the top side of the map in this case. With both players spawning across from each other, you only have to worry about the bottom side. And all these Adepts doing a lot of damage here.
Now notice he's completely willing to divide up Adept damage here, and kind of a funny play here. He did damage the Queen, but he's now going to come in here and try to get some of these drones, and then eventually do more damage back on top of those Lings.
Yeah, I thought he'd snipe that Queen there, but
yeah, me too. I was a little bit confused by that. I thought you either go for it or there's no point in attacking it at all. He put that at about half health and then backed off.
Yeah, I thought well, at least he got some drone kills, which is the important thing. Like, if he didn't get too much damage done there, he would have fallen quite behind. As the first 2 Phoenixes here are out for Zest. Looks like he just wants to take control of the map with these Phoenixes.
So, GTR, this is a style of play. It kind of reminds me of what you and I have been practicing in our little Brood War games. You know, in Brood War, it's you get Corsairs, mass them up, and then you apply pressure with speed lots. This is kind of the same idea. Yeah. You have the Phoenixes coming out. Obviously, they can pick up ground units in this case. And then you have Adepts, which are just super mobile, so it's really hard to punish them coming out like this. Now, I believe he's not going to come forward with this, but let's find out.
Yeah, he's just happy to sit here at the bottom of the ramp here. As actually going to pick off this Queen, maybe. I think that was a weak Queen from before with that Adept harass.
That's the bruised Queen for sure.
Yeah, but maybe he'll get this Queen. Oh no, he has to move back here. There's too many Queens out here for DeParture. He can defend these Phoenixes quite fine, and he's expanding behind his Zest.
Yeah, 3 Nexuses, but it does look like DeParture may have a good timing. This actually could be a problem right now for Zest. The Queens are going to come out here as well. Now remember, a lot of the Phoenix energy was used up. It seems as though Zest wants to use these Adepts to come in here from behind, but I think this actually might be bad for Zest. He's going to phase in here. Let's see if Zerg turns around or if Zerg commits to the attack.
Well, we just saw Zest build his Forge, and I'm actually surprised he got his Forge so late. That's so greedy there, because you need cannons to help delay this attack as much as possible. Oh no! The surround there with the Zerglings and the Roaches on those Adepts.
This actually might just cost Zest the game here.
Oh, nice corrosive blast there on
This is really bad by Zest.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know why he thought he could get away with this much. Let's see, though. I mean, Zest is the master here. I'm hoping I can learn something, but right now I'm looking back here. There's no Adepts. There's really not much of anything.
There's no cannons. There's these pylons here, but there's not going to be enough pylon overcharges on these pylons to prevent this attack, and DeParture might be just able to walk up and take this game.
Yeah, he's just going to take these pylons out, and I mean, there are so many queens and lings here, and by the way, there's more lings being made. You know, if he wants to, he might want to just get the cybernetics core up here in the front.
Those gateways are unpowered as well, so Zest is going to be banking up a lot of money because he can't spend it at all. I mean, those two gateways would be really useful for force fields, and they could be useful for building extra stalkers, but they're not used at the moment because they're unpowered.
Yeah, just kind of a bad game here from Zest. I gotta say, I think the world is in shock right now watching this. He's pulling probes now. He's getting 2 immortals at a time to help defend here, but there are lings coming up with this. By the way, no pylon in sight to repower these gateways. So many probes being killed now. 15, soon to be about 21 kills.
Double robo though, if he gets enough immortals, he might be able to defend this, but the thing is, there's nothing to shield these immortals. There's no zealots because the gateways aren't powered, and he's not building anything for the stargates.
The lings are coming up now, again, doing more damage to these immortals. It's really the immortals are the only thing that can hold this now. There might be the tiniest chance that he actually holds this off, which is kind of crazy, but there's 24 more lings and roaches being made. Now, right when the lings get in here and take out the rest of these immortals, I think the roaches and the other lings that come up here and do extra damage.
I mean, you can see here the mineral count for DeParture is quite high. I think he's quite happy with the damage he's done so far. I'm not sure why he's not. Okay, he's redroning it, which is good. But Zest here, remember, he did take that 3rd base, so he's not too far behind, but the thing is, he's lost quite a bit of workers.
Well, I think it depends on how much more of the damage is he really going to take this time around here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been so many workers killed. Right now it's 48 to 29, and he saw this huge wave of roaches that were coming up here. Even this immortal over here, it's most assuredly going to be picked off.
Oh, but another 2 immortals come out from those robotics.
Yeah, but he can get a surround on this. Look at this. And from here you have the corrosive biles that will almost assuredly connect there on top of those immortals. Lings, you can always trade those in for immortals here. And so the damage just continues on. Now he's going to send these lings up here into the main now. Zest losing even more. Zest, man, I mean, he was just too greedy this game. Doesn't mean it's over and he has to leave the game yet, but it definitely means the DeParture's in a position where he could cause this massive upset. You can see Zest kind of reposition himself in his chair as this, it looks like this harass might be almost over if he can actually manage to muster the army together to defend this. Actually, you know what? I think he's just dead.
Yeah,
because he's not able to make out of the robo anymore, and the probes aren't mining.
Look how much money DeParture has. He has 800, 500 gas, and I think at this point, DeParture's just thinking, oh, I've got such a lead right now. How will I keep that lead and win the game? And we see here Hydralisk Den. Pretty sure he's going to transition to lurkers with that Hydralisk Den, and
he could even send the Hydras. Yeah, that's it. GG. Wow. What? Okay. Weird.
What an upset.
Wow. I gotta say, Zest really messed that game up. That was a pretty bad bungle by him back there.
Yeah, Zest dropped the ball there with those adepts, and when those adepts got surrounded, and he couldn't shade out, and once he lost that bulk of adepts, then he lost the game. And you also have to remember that Zest got really greedy. He delayed his forge so he could get his 3rd expansion up, and without those cannons, there's no way he was going to defend that.
I mean, that was... Okay, there was like so many things wrong with what Zest did. You know, sometimes when you're against somebody, you know, you might be like, oh, I can do whatever I want because I'm so much better, but it's never really the case. I mean, if you don't want to lose a game, you have to play safe. You have to, like, just do what you know and you should come out on top. And, like, I mean, certainly he would know that, like, you know, making those Phoenixes and pressure and making these Adepts, you can't just take a 3rd and not have a Forge, and also throw your Adepts away, because the Adepts will die running away there. The Speedlings do surround them, and there's not much you can do.
Yeah, those Phoenixes saw that Ravagers were being morphed, and especially in those spawns that both players had, taking a 3rd base in that situation seemed really
questionable.
Really questionable decision there from Zest, but we should credit DeParture where credit's due. He did play that game quite well, given the situation that he was in, and he surprised all of us by taking out Zest, and I think he should deserve some credit for that.
Look, he definitely held on there. He identified that he had been forced into a lot of Speedlings, a lot of Roaches, and then he looked at the distance between the 2 locations and said, you know what, I might have a really strong timing attack here. You got to remember, whenever these Protosses have a cybernetics core at the entrance to wall off, you can most assuredly kill that, and a lot of times just stop them from actually teching up the units that can stop Roach Ravager Ling.